Welcome to Financial Investing Radio, where you'll learn the secrets for consistent, high-probability returns in the financial markets for additional income to change your life. Grant applies consistent, high-probability trading systems for the financial markets. He's only recently started sharing these tried and true market secrets. As a gift to listeners, Grant is offering his roadmap to high-probability financial control. Go to financialinvestingradio.com and download yours today. Now, here's your host and trading veteran, Grant Larson.
Hey everybody, this is Grant. Thank you so much for joining. So, how much time do you have to review your financial activity every day? And how much time do you really want to spend doing that? Now, the answer is likely going to be minimal, right? You're probably not going to want to spend a lot of time doing that. Now, what if you had some simple steps to evaluate your financial basis and it didn't require a PhD in investing? So I took some initial flying lessons once. The pilot was a former Navy F-14 pilot, and we were in a Cessna 172. He made it seem so simple. He had everything written out. He would do a pre-flight check. He'd walk through all the steps, what all the pieces were that needed to be done. I'd walk around the airplane with him. I didn't fully understand everything he was checking or he was looking for. And at first, when we get in the plane and we'd start to take off, he managed all of the communication with the tower. So when we are on the ground, he spoke with the tower. When we were in the air, he spoke with the tower. I could hear the tower, but they were speaking a different language, at least to me. I couldn't understand what they were talking about. So he had me focus initially on the mechanics of taking off, landing, making turns without, slippage in the air. So making adjustments in our financial picture often requires a similar level of involvement, right? You need someone to manage the pre-flight and to communicate with the tower. I remember one time we were sitting on the runway, and this was at actually at a commercial airport. And so we're in this little Cessna, and in front of us is a Boeing 737, and behind us is an even larger passenger plane. So there we are, squeezed between these two planes that are, of course, much larger than what we are. So this 737 takes off in front of us, and off it goes. And the tower gave some instruction to hold. And I asked him, why were we holding so long? And he went through to communicate that, well, the problem is that when something that size takes off in front of us, and we're a tiny plane, the air that's spinning off the tips of those wings can be pretty turbulent for much smaller craft. So, we eventually took off and, of course, avoided flying in the same sort of path that the larger plane was doing, because that could, of course, create a problem with us, right? We have to do the same kind of thing. We got to know what's going on around us, both in terms of making our trading and investment decisions, as well as what's going on overall in the market itself. So this pilot, he would have me focus on the mechanics of takeoff, landing, making turns. Eventually, you'll need to be able to take care of all the matters, right? You have your financial pre-flight, you'll make an investment decision, you're managing it, and then, things will happen where it could make something bumpy for you, right? So for example, one time I was flying with a friend. He was in a Piper. He and I were flying his Piper, little four-seater, and we flew right over Lake Tahoe. And as soon as we got over Lake Tahoe, the air got really bumpy, really choppy. And it was because of the temperature of the air was being impacted by the temperature of the water. So I was actually pretty glad to get past that part. So that'll happen with some of your investments as well. So make sure you understand where you are and what's around you. See, it's important to understand the related markets. So for example, let's say that you're investing in the SPY. That's an S&P 500 exchange traded fund, right? ETF. You're going to want to understand the markets that are related to the SPY. What are those related markets? Do you know? You got to make sure you know what the related markets are. And are those markets going up? Are they moving down? Are they being volatile? You want to make sure you understand what's going on around you. Just like flying over the lake. All of a sudden, I was saying to my friend, why did it get so bumpy? He's like, Grant, we're flying right over Lake Tahoe. And there it was, about 15,000 feet below us. Sure enough, it was still impacting us. Now, you want to understand the current market context, what's going on with economic reports, what's going on with associated related markets. So in other words, you're going to do your pre-flight checklist. You're going to do that on a regular basis. But you also got to make sure while you're flying the thing, you know what's going on in the world around you. All right, so even though you do a pre-flight, make sure if your investment gets bumpy, to keep an eye on that. Okay, so be sure to include your rules on how to win and leave the investment. If things get too bumpy, right, take it out. Take out half of it, right? Make sure you protect yourselves. Most of all, be sure to have a flight instructor to help you through a range of activities to help you protect your hard-earned capital. Hey, thanks for joining, and until next time, trade safe.
Thank you for joining Grant on Financial Investing Radio. Remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Don't forget to download your free roadmap to high probability financial control before you make an investment decision. Visit financialinvestingradio.com now.